NHL player Daniel Carcillo is teaming up with a former Western Hockey League player to spearhead a class action lawsuit against the Canadian Hockey League, alleging abuse while they were rookies in the league. Carcillo and Garrett Taylor filing a statement of claim with the Ontario Superior Court of Justice. They allege the WHL, the Ontario Hockey League, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and all 60 teams under their umbrella inflicted violent hazing and physical sexual assault while they were teenagers. The lawsuit seeks damages for negligence, breach of contract, and a declaration that the teams and the leagues are liable for abuse perpetrated by their employees and players. It comes just days after a former Kitchener Rangers player alleged he was forced to do cocaine at a team party. None of the allegations have been proven in court. For more on this, we're joined by Ken Campbell. He is a senior writer at the Hockey News. Good to have you with us today, Ken. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit more about the significance of this.
Well, they were very, very troubling allegations that were made yesterday. There was a lawsuit filed in the Ontario Superior Court in Toronto yesterday by Dan Carcillo, as you said, a former NHL player, played 10 years in the league, won 2 Stanley Cups with the Chicago Blackhawks, as well as another player by the name of Garrett Taylor, who played a couple of years in the Western Hockey League. These guys are the sort of the face of this class action lawsuit that basically states that players aged 15 to 17 were humiliated, abused, essentially sexually assaulted in the course of these hazing rituals that have taken place over the years in major junior hockey.
In the work that you do covering hockey for the Hockey News, I'm curious whether you can have wondered about this, whether there have been stories, allegations like this in the past.
Well, I think you hear things, and you hear things like this. I've never heard anything quite so heinous as this. The depictions that were put out in the statement of claim by Mr. Carcillo and Mr. Taylor were troubling, to say the least. They were very, very. It was very, very. The alleged behavior was very, very depraved. You do hear about these things occasionally. You do hear that sometimes they go over the line a little bit. But I've never heard of anything this bad in all the time that I've been covering the game.
And the lawsuit claiming, that head coaches and assistant coaches and league officials knew of the abuse, Ken, and did nothing to stop it. Again, the allegation that they, in some cases, actually participated in it.
Yes, it actually is alleged by Carcillo that the head coach of the Sarnia Sting did participate at one point in one of the hazing incidents, and another time saw it and ignored it. So yes, it's definitely alleged that there were people who knew, who should have known better, who were in positions of authority, that knew that this was going on, and not only didn't stop it, but actually participated in it as well. Yes, that is definitely alleged.
I know that as part of your reporting, you've reached out to the Canadian Hockey League. What's the CHL saying, if anything?
Not a lot right now. I've reached out to everyone that I can think of there. Dan McKenzie, the president of CHL, David Branch, the OHL commissioner, Ron Robison, the WHL commissioner, and Gilles Courteau, the QMJHL commissioner. They've been very quiet about it. The only response I got last night from the Ontario Hockey League was that they had not been served anything yet, so they were not prepared to comment on any sort of pending lawsuit.
Something else is kind of astonishing is that the lawsuit includes all the teams, and I'm curious what you make of that. The fact that this is just the broad stroke.
Right. I think the fact is that this is a class action. So I think they want to make sure that if there are other players for any of these teams in any of the 3 leagues in Canada that have a story to tell and that have been subject to anything like this, that they have their opportunity to come forward and be part of the class action. I think it speaks to just the culture of the game that it's kind of not accepted, but accepted that this has happened. This is not an isolated incident, I guess, is what these people are saying, and that it probably has probably has occurred in other places, on other teams, in other leagues. So it's troubling to say the least if it is indeed true.
Absolutely. Ken Campbell joining us on the Hockey News. He's joining us today from Grand Bend in Ontario. Thank you, Ken. Good to have you with us on CTV today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.